I am excited to talk about this today. I think this is an important topic, like not just how to close new clients, but how to keep them. I think that is important, and we had a long chat about this yesterday, and then we've had several chats since then, before then as well. So yeah, let's move into it. Let me see if anybody is. Oh, there we go, Scott. Hey, how's it going, Scott? Hey, Dean. Hey, Nick. How's it going? Thanks for commenting, guys. Appreciate you. And I'm gonna get going. In this one, I'm going to talk about like what I think is like the most important thing if you already have clients, which is kind of keeping your clients. I'll talk a little bit more about that. And then what's almost as important is just getting new ones, and you should be doing both. I'm going to talk about kind of at a high level like how we're doing that, and then also some plans that Michael and I have right now and are moving forward with this. So last week was an interesting week for me because I did lose 2 clients and I gained 1 client as well. This is the first time I'd lost clients, and at first I kind of let myself off the hook and just said coronavirus. But I realized that there was probably maybe one of them I could have kept if I had been a little bit better and a little bit more proactive about making sure that they know that I'm there working for them and that I'm still valuable to them. So I think this is the most important thing. If you already have clients, making sure that you keep them is the most important. And also kind of setting up when you are doing new clients, setting them up to be kept. Because Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, it's way, way less expensive and easier to keep an old client versus get a new one.
That is not incorrect. That is absolutely correct. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and this is something that I am guilty of as well, taking for granted my current clients and not showing them the love that they deserve for investing in my business and my family. And so really probably one of the biggest things you can do is to contact them a bit more frequently. I try to keep my clients at arm's reach, but this is a little bit different, and I'm trying to make an effort to ask them how they're doing, but also kind of do some more additional brainstorming. A lot of clients, their situation has changed. Maybe the searches have changed, but also just the nature of their situation in general has changed. And so just letting them know that you're there and then you're continuing to work for them, you're continuing to build for their future, I think increases the chances that they're not going to cut you. What do you think about that, Michael?
No, absolutely. So, when it comes out to reaching out to them more frequently, it's to the point where you have to circle wagons, if you ever remember that phrase there, right? So there's a big threat that's out there, and that's the coronavirus, and you really kind of pull everybody in together and take care of the people that are inside that circle of wagons. And in this case, it's the clients, and not only reaching out to them, but being more proactive with it. But you can also reach out to them in ways that it's just not like, hey, I'm just checking in, right? Because if you're following the OSAE training, then you're down into a single niche. That means you can take a little bit more time right now and create content that's specific for that niche, whether it's brainstorming ideas that are going to apply to that niche in general, or if it's something specific about SEO that's changes it or anything else like that. And then as you post that content on your website, then you just let your clients know. So there's more than one way of reaching out to them and letting them know that you're still there, still working for them, without actually having to go out and say, hey, look, I'm still here, I'm still working. All right.
That's good. Yeah, that's a good idea. Especially if you're in a specific niche, that's something that you can really do, and you can kind of streamline operations there to a significant degree. So I like that idea. Also, just trying to be proactive in terms of like reaching out to them before they reach out to you. Like you want them, it's more professional just in general. If someone, you don't want, if the client is expecting something from you and you don't, or you aren't able to deliver it on time or whatever, just as a separate situation, and you wait for them to reach out to you to ask for it, that's really bad, as opposed to you just saying, hey, I'm not able to deliver it. Here's when I'm going to be able to deliver it. So it's the same situation now, just letting them know, just even a super simple email like, hey, I'm working on this. I'm still here. Here's some ideas that I'm throwing around. What do you think? Or just something really, really super simple to just reach out to them. If you haven't already, I'd say at least once a month and probably as much as once a week, depending on your situation. You could do more frequent. You know, I have my biggest 6,500 a month client. I'm like sending messages back and forth with them a couple times a week because they're just such a big important client, and they're also just a great client. You know, they have a really great attitude about this, and so you know, making sure that I stoke that I stay on top of that it doesn't seem like I'm at home watching Netflix all day is going to be really important to keeping those clients because they're paying a flat monthly fee, and so I don't want them to think that, well, you know, I'm at home and there's less work, I'm doing less work, but I'm still charging the same amount. I want it to be the opposite. I want them to let them know that, hey, I'm actually doing extra work to make it so that you benefit from the situation. You come out on top.
I think one thing to kind of interject in there, David, is that, you know, for most of us that are in the agency, in the SEO agency world, we've worked remote or are working remote. We did that before the coronavirus. And we have home offices that are set up to do this. The biggest thing, if you haven't done this already, is let your clients know that it's business as usual for you and how you operate your business, because you're already used to this. There was like no downtime for you. You're going out there, and this is one of the things I did for my client base is I let them know, hey, it's business as usual for us. We haven't changed on how we operate things. The only thing is we're giving, for our clients, I let all our client base know, if you've been directly affected by it, we're giving preference to people that have been directly affected by it over everybody else. The more severe that your business isn't affected, the quicker we are to respond. So we're triaging like anything that's coming in as well. So just keeping your clients updated on what to expect during this uncertain times, it goes a very, very long way.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that is actually another thing that I would do. I'm going to mention on the next one, which is putting kind of like a notification on your site that like, hey, we're still open for business. We're still working. We can still get stuff done. So I think that's going to be something that you're going to want to do. Let's see. Let me go back to here. Okay, so also just kind of simple stuff. Just say, how are you and your family doing? This is something that I intentionally did. Again, before they reached out to me, you know, that was something that I made an effort to do, to contact all my clients and ask them how they were doing. Just like a little bit of a personal touch, because, you know, you're much less likely to fire someone you don't like, that you like, versus someone you don't like. If it's just a cold, rational decision, you know, it's going to be a little harder for you to keep them. And right now we're just trying to play all the edges that we can get here. And I want to point out that I think that it's very likely that you will lose clients. At least if you don't, let me know exactly what you're doing. I'd be curious. But I expect that some of them will be lost, and that's fine. And I wouldn't break down if it didn't go exactly as you thought. And like I said in my last week, I did lose a couple of clients, but I did gain a client as well. And I think I learned a little bit of some lessons that you guys can take advantage of. So I'm gonna move on here. Let's move on. Let's see here. Okay, so getting new clients. I thought I updated my picture on this, but I guess I didn't. So every week I'm still talking to potential clients. I'm still getting people contacting me, and there's still people who are saying they're interested in building their business and growing their business. So there still are people out there who are willing to do the work and spend the money. So I don't think that because there are businesses that are hurting and people that are hurting, and that's totally true, and I'm not dismissing that no one out there is able to invest. In fact, there's a lot of really savvy entrepreneurs who know that you want to be brave when people are fearful and fearful when other people are brave. It's sort of like a stock market kind of tip, you know. And so, Michael, what has been your experience lately with, are people still interested in investing in their business?
Yeah, they definitely are, and I think the biggest thing is the trust factor, right? When times are uncertain, you have to do some extra work to prove that you're trustworthy if it's going to be a new client. That's why it's a lot easier to keep the client because you've already maintained that trust than it is to go out there and get a new one. And so that, if you want to call it the trust coefficient for our math geeks out there, right? You're going to really have to put a nice delta on it, because it's going to take a little bit more for somebody who is trusting right now to even pull the trigger, because everybody, no matter where they're at, is a little bit more worried about starting a new project with somebody that they're not, when there's such a big unknown out there.
Yeah, that's a good point. So there's a lot of different ways to work on trust, and one of the things is to, I think kind of being real and being who you are. I think that works, because it's not about getting everybody to trust you a lot. It's about connecting with the people that are most likely to trust you, which is why, when I branded my Dallas SEO Geek, I think I kind of made a good decision, better than I got a little bit lucky, but at the same time, there was a little bit of intentionality to it. It's better to push some people away, to pull other people close to you, than to be kind of lukewarm to everybody, and to be kind of at the same level, but not like great. And so, some people want like a consultant type geek person, and some people don't. But trying to play it as you're a consultant, one of guy, and also a big company at the same time, it's going to muddy the waters, and it's going to make it harder for them to trust you, because it's not really clear who you are. And so the trust, I think, is a huge factor. There's a lot of different ways to do trust. Also, just to kind of talk to them like a real person. If I try to feel the room for who they are, and if they curse, if they say shit or fuck or something like that, I try to say it as well. And part of that is just being real. And sometimes I just throw it in there. I kind of make a guess, and I'll do it before them. In Texas, there's a lot of like kind of good old boy type people that it can actually increase trust to do. And I'm not saying you should curse with everybody, but if you got like a grandma on the phone who's trying to do her business, that's a little bit different, right? So you kind of got to play that by ear and try to be yourself within a reason, but also be a real human being. And the more you can appear to be a real human being, the more trust they'll give you. So I did close a new deal, and so that is something that, again, like I said, there's a lot of people out there looking to close new deals. So don't think that you can't close new deals. Don't think, that by closing a new deal, I don't mean they said, yeah, I'm in. They paid. They paid for the first month. They agreed to, to significantly long project, and they started paying, and we're good. And they acknowledged that, it's investment, and so that's good. There should be good news for anybody out there looking to actually close clients, that it definitely can still be done. And I did mention before, if you didn't hear it, there you can put a notice on the website. I want to pull up an example of that, but Michael, do you have any comments so far right now with some of the last things I've said, while I try to find this other website that I thought was a good example?
Only that I put a tutorial on how to add a notice to a website online. So
oh, you did?
As far as closing, yeah, I did. Made a YouTube video on it, step-by-step instructions, all that kind of stuff. So
send me that. Do you have that link? Let's see. You messaged it to me a little bit ago. Okay, I'm gonna find that. So why don't you talk about that a little bit, and while I find that link, and I'll pull it up here.
But as far as the other stuff goes, I think at this point, if you've ever been shy of like over communicating with your client, don't be at this point, right? Because it really, the little messages, even if it's a little status update, goes a long way with keeping the clients and letting them know that you're still in it, right? And you can let them know, like, hey, look, everything's kind of uncertain right now, and we want you to understand like what's going on a little bit more with what you have with your project with us, right? Or your work that's going on with us. Don't be afraid of getting on the phone or getting on Zoom with them explaining a little bit more detail on what their rankings are doing. If you're, if you haven't had any type of analytics put on their website, or doing things like tying your rankings to phone calls or revenue, if you know how to do that, then take the time to walk them through how to do that as well. So they have a metric that's coming in, so they know that, hey, look, what you're doing is making me money. So I think all those things work well together, to be able to build. Again, it's the theme here is continue to build the trust with your client. So
yeah, and I dropped a link, and I'm gonna pull this over to show you kind of what it looks like. I can actually move this over. Let's see here. Nope, that didn't work. wait, let's see here. One. There we go. So this is Michael's agency website. You can see at the top a bar. I can't read that on my screen right now. There's another one. One of my clients sent me a competitor of theirs that had something similar. Okay, I can see this. COVID update, sort of like something at the top. And then like a learn more. I think it's good to have like a link to a specific page where they can learn more about that. I think that's going to be useful, especially if you're doing incoming traffic. Don't take my website for that, because I have not. I need to put that up there. I'm still getting calls, but I could probably get more calls if I had done this. If I have this up, it just hasn't been a huge priority at this time for me. But I do need to put that up. There's just other things that I'm working on. So, okay. Let's see. Let's go back. Let's take this off. Let's see if this works. Okay. So, also, and this goes to Michael and I's plan. Michael and I? I don't know how to say that. I would say do higher quality over and lower quantity client prospecting versus kind of higher quantity. And what do I mean by higher quality? I mean trying to look for higher end clients, or also, if you can, try to filter for more stable businesses. And by that I mean look for businesses that have been around longer, or that have are still investing in other forms of marketing. Because a lot of the businesses that are getting hurt, even in industries that are doing fine, are the ones that are kind of like living by the seat of their pants. They're living kind of month to month, so to speak. To give kind of a personal analogy, they can't absorb a few months off, even if their industry is fine. And those are going to be the ones that are not going to be as willing to invest, or they're not going to really be able to afford or be willing to take the risk to invest a significant amount. Do you have any more thoughts on that, Michael?
Yeah, so some of the stuff that we're doing on there, as far as like higher quality, is not only looking for businesses that have been around longer, but also looking at the revenue, right? If they're able to drive higher dollar amounts on an annual basis, then it's less likely that they're running on a month-to-month kind of marketing thing or business structure, right? So as people are kind of putting in for all this COVID-19 relief, it's important that businesses still have cash coming in the door, because soon they're going to be getting some money coming through. There's $352 billion or something like that. That's available.
Exact number, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty big number that's available for smaller businesses, anybody that has employees. So if you've been dealing with one-man shows or smaller type businesses, now's really a good time to level up and go after the bigger clients. Do it in the smaller quantities, right? Find out who they are, connect with them on LinkedIn, connect with them on Facebook, stuff like that, and kind of go after them that way.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. And there's a lot of data sources out there that can tell you like the annual revenue of a business roughly, and how long they've been in business, stuff like that. That's going to give you a good indication of their quality. Not that there aren't brand new businesses that would be great clients and old businesses that would be shitty clients. That's sort of what I would do. Here's an example that I wanted to bring up because I thought this was done really well. You can see this is Juan Law. I'll put a link to this in the in the comments as well, because I think that this one is, I think it's just really, it just looks really nice and really clean. You can see the red bar. It's not obtrusive, but it's also obvious. And they have a click here. I definitely like the more even micro actions you can get somebody to take, the better. So they click here, and then you can, go here, and maybe they do have a call to action down here on the page. Well, actually, let me click. I can actually click on this. Let's see where to go. Well, it's not letting me click on it. But if you click on the click here, it'll actually take you to a place where there's a little bit of description and then a call to action. So I wanted to show that real quick. Let's see here. We go back. There we go. That's the prepared material I have. If you have any questions, please ask it now. Michael, do you have any more thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to this, relationships take time, and I think people are willing to invest more time right now than they will be like after a lot of this lockdown period is over. So if you have like ideal clients that you're really trying to go after, if you haven't reached out to them, don't wait. Do it now.
Yeah.
Find them. Do your cyber stalking. Get them on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever social media channel you can get them on. I know executives of bigger companies, very successful companies that never get on Facebook, and I see them on my feed, and they're posting 5 or 6 times a day because they're bored out of their mind. Right?
I like
because
that.
They have so many other things that are going on, and their workload is down a little bit. Because some of these bigger companies did a lot of cutbacks, but don't think that the guy in charge is piling on the work. He's still delegating it out.
That's a good point. Yeah, don't wait. Now is the time. I mean, there's no other time than now to really get going and go make it happen for yourself. The whatever country you live in, if it's America or somewhere, wherever, you and your country and just the people as a whole, they need people to keep going after it. They need people to go out there and drum up business. That's good for the economy, for the world economy, because it's all pretty well connected. And so, if everybody just kind of hunkers down, that's not going to be good for anybody. Don't stop selling. I heard some people, my wife was like, hey, they shouldn't be selling urgent items on Amazon. I'm like, actually, I don't think that's true at all. You should be, if somebody needs it and it's useful, you should buy it. And I know that the reason for that is that you can't just shut everything down. If it's possible for that to be delivered in a safe way, then we should do it, even if it's something that isn't like a necessary item. And so don't be afraid to sell SEO or whatever services you provide, even if you think, oh, it's not going to save your lives in the next 30 days. It's something that needs to keep things need to keep going. So don't wait. Well, you can feel free to put a post in the Facebook group if you have any more questions. I don't see any questions right now. And if you're watching this in a replay on YouTube or on Facebook later, whichever one you want, just put a comment, and we'll get to it when we can. So thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye now.
All right. Bye.